Hey guys, be sure to press like and subscribe. Today we're going to be talking about don't let people rob your peace. By that I mean this. The other day I let my guard down a little bit, and I had thought that people from back home, one of the people from back home was trying to reconcile last time we had talked. They had called me about a death in the family, and we had what I thought was kind of a good talk. And after thinking about it, I thought I would just check to see. And I asked them if we were good. And they said no. And then they went off at me at a whole bunch of stuff. And they didn't know the full story of what happened 10 years ago. And I'm not going to go into explanations and stuff like that because I really don't care. You know what I mean? Because there's always a different side of the story. And I don't like to explain myself on things like that because you just open yourself up for more harm. Sometimes the more you let people know, the more harm they do to you, and then they just call you a liar and all this stuff. I don't go there. This had to do with like a will and some other things, and it was just a big mess, and it was a will that was getting distributed while somebody was still alive, but was very sick, and it happened to be my dad. And it was really a nasty situation, and it was a situation that mentally really hurt me for like about seven to 10 years. And even today it still hurts kind of because I lost a good amount of my family due to this situation because everybody was trying to get their digs in. Everybody. And it was really getting nasty. And they try to play the innocent party, but I always, I try to give people chances sometimes, and I've learned my lesson over here kind of. Every time I've opened myself up to somebody from way back there, I've gotten bitten, and I've learned to be harder on that and not let my heart take over, because sometimes, I'm a person that really loves people until they really, really hurt me bad. And I've learned my lesson that now that past is in the past. And if I let it into my future, it's going to wreck my future. And a couple of times, I've tried opening my heart up a little bit just to see how things would go. But I knew kind of like it wouldn't go in a good way. And it didn't, let me tell you. But, I just want to warn you guys, because a lot of guys come over here, and we've talked about this before, about people that have stuff in their past. And you don't want to bring that forward with you, whether it was your fault or their fault or whatever. You know the way the story's going to go. So why even bother opening it up? I've made that mistake. It's not worth it for us to reopen those mistakes because it's not going to get any better. These kids of this generation are nasty, and they kind of group together too, which is kind of sad to watch. They group together and try to form groups. It's almost like a club. It really is. It's really kind of sad the way these things happen. And I was just thinking about this, and I says, something, I'm not going to let people rob me of my peace. And since I've gotten here, I've had that sense of peace. And a couple of times it's gotten, robbed away a little bit. I've been able to gain it back, but I'm not going to let anybody take my peace. Nobody's going to take my peace. Sometimes it hurts to look back at that, and it's best not to look back at that, but sometimes you get reminded for one thing or another. Could be because you're still friends with a couple of your relatives back home or whatever, and you get reminded of things, and you think, well, geez, maybe we ought to try to fix this or whatever. Maybe, and some things can't be fixed. I've learned that. I learned that I will go to my death knowing that these people are so hard-headed and so unforgiving that it just will never get fixed. And I know in my heart that I'm good. And I didn't do anything wrong because I was the one in charge when these things went wrong. And yet I still get accused of things that I didn't do. And a lot of guys over here that I've talked to have gone through the same crap that I've gone through. And you get falsely accused of things, and it's not a good thing to drag around all your life. So a lot of us have come over here and left that there. Fortunately, my plan was to come over here no matter what, even before that happened. My plan was to get out of the country even when I was way younger. So that it's not like I'm coming over here to escape from that, but it is certainly a benefit of that. You know, like I get the benefit of being away from that. You know, it's a benefit that I like. I like being over here and being far away from that. Because when I was living in that town, and I had all that kind of hovering around me, and you had that kind of like dirty feeling, like, you know, like you're living in a city full of crap, or a state full of crap, kind of, you know. And unfortunately, a lot of them were your relatives. And I had good relatives too, you know. But I mean, you don't want that encroaching over here. You don't want that encroaching on you over here. And one thing I noticed, like, I got back on Facebook a little while ago, and I was off for a year. Okay, and I notice I've had to, like, when I see people pop up on there that I don't want anything to do with, I just block them. And I think I'm going to block some more people out of my life that were part of that and go back so they can't even watch my life. I don't want these people watching my life. Granted, yeah, on YouTube you can watch me and stuff like that, and people will try to make their comments or what have you. You know, and fortunately I screen them, you know, so that's the good thing. You know, I get to screen out all the garbage. But in today's world, all of us have some sort of family stressors. We all carry some sort of family stressors. It's almost, I would say probably like about 75% of people have those or more. Some sort of family stressors. By the time you reach 50 years old, you got some major family stressors on your life. Whether it's your fault or their fault or nobody's fault, or just misunderstandings, they just come into play. And some of this younger generation, the way they think is, it's never their fault, it's always your fault. It doesn't matter what they did to you. It's how you responded. You know, and I had that happen to me in my past, you know, where somebody did something to me, and because I responded strongly and with anger, I was at fault suddenly. And they made it all about the way I responded. You know, and keep your peace, man. That's what I say. Keep your peace. You know, I've had to walk away from my battles before, because I knew that there was no winning that battle, because when you're up against people lying about you or lying about what actually happened, or they don't know the whole story. They don't know not even half the story because they weren't there, or they didn't see it all, or they weren't going through it. You know, I mean, I remember going through some really tragic times, really tough times in my life, and then people would jump on you in your family, on your back, and make it even 10 times harder than what it should have been. Instead of making it easier on you and carrying part of your burden, what they did was they made it harder on you and made your burden even heavier. You know, and now that I'm here in the Philippines, I won't let anybody do that. I'll just get up and walk away and go someplace else, you know. But I don't have that problem here with my family, fortunately. You know, people don't add a burden onto my life anymore. And I know back in the U.S., people have like that nastiness, even in families today and with friends and stuff like that. And it's one of the things I don't miss in the U.S. You know, and I just, you know, like I really embrace that feeling in the Philippines of family love. You know, and I'm not saying every family's perfect over here. You know, they're not. But the majority of people over here, if you keep them over here and they don't get caught up in that, if you bring them back to the U.S., they get caught up in that stuff. If you leave them here and you stay here, you're okay. You know, because they don't get caught up in all that USA crap. Because that USA crap is what's causing all this garbage back home, or Western crap. It goes on in Australia, it goes on in the UK, it goes on over in Europe, places like that. You know, it's all over the world now, and it's spreading. It's even spreading here, unfortunately, a little bit, but not as much as it has in Western countries. You know, but I do see it, and I'm not sure if it has to do with social networks or what it is, but I do know that it's spreading in a really, really bad way, and hopefully it doesn't come over here. because if it comes over here, then we're done. We're done, because it'll destroy the Philippines as we know it. As that last place that last resort that you can go to. That's safe. And we all know that the Philippines isn't 100% safe, but it's safer than the U.S. in a lot of ways. It's safe from all that psychological crap that goes on back home. And fortunately, we have that place. And, a lot of you guys are coming over here for many different reasons. Some of it's just for retirement. Some of it's to leave family issues back there. I come over here for the retirement. And, fortunately, one of the benefits is that I get away from family issues too, which is really good. And that wasn't the main reason why I come over here, because I was already, had thought about leaving the U.S. already. Either it was going to be Belize, or it was going to be the Philippines, or Vietnam, or someplace, I don't know where, but I ended up in the Philippines, and I'm happy that I did. And it's a rough world. It's a really rough world out there. And, I wish you guys the best in whatever you guys do out there, whatever you're coming over here for. Whether it's just retirement, or you're retirement and you're just sick of the whole shebang back in the U.S., as a lot of you guys have written me in emails and everything. But anyway, guys, I just want to talk about that a little bit today. God bless, guys. Take care.